when we came in together way back in 2003, we realized it would make more sense for us to write together. And JB Smoove, who went on to Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, he was a writer. But we realized it was better for us three to collab and write something together, because then as a united front, if they didn't pick our sketch, we could all be like, oh, y'all don't like black people.
Right. Right.
Y'all said no, all three of us. It's only three of us.
Right. That's smart.
We call him Al Sharpton.
All right.
So
I made it through the rough time. I made it through the tough time. I made it through the bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice.
Welcome to Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Mashburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Hey, welcome to another episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged. We are so excited to welcome today's guest, Finesse Mitchell. He is a very good friend of Robert Bailey's, and I'm sure he will also become a fast friend of the Kennedy Kids Foundation, as well as Bailey and I as we get through this conversation today. Now, I know you guys have seen him on episodes of SNL. He was a cast member for many years, right? He's been on Comic View. He's been on, I had like a whole sheet I could leave here. It's like unbelievable. I mean, we got Today Show, we got movies, we're all over the place. So I don't want to take up too much just time talking about all of his accolades. I'm going to let the man speak for himself, but I do want to say welcome and thank you for being and recording your show today on the day that your special is dropping, right? Like yes. Your next special. It's called Slightly Offensive. It just dropped today, the day that we are recording this, and here you are doing this interview with us. So thank you so much, and welcome to the show. We're so special.
Thank you for having me. Robert is a dear friend. I used to idolize those guys. I remember, I think I turned 18 June 12th, and we were having Coach Erickson at the University of Miami. I wrote him a letter, and Robert doesn't know this, but I wrote this guy a letter, and I said that, hold on, I hope this, I live at the bottom of a reservoir.
We hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, but I said, man, I sent them my tapes and videos. I forgot who looks at, footage all back then, but, Coach Erickson had invited me to come down during the summer and try out to make the team, because I didn't want to go to the teams that had offered me scholarships. And at that time, I was so impressionable. I was a huge fan of Miami Vice. I was a huge fan of Miami beating Notre Dame. And I just wanted to be in Miami. And he said, well, your tape looks great. If you can make the team as a walk-on, we happy to have you. So I came down there and I tried out with it had to be about 45 people, and we were on Green Tree, and they had us run suicides, and Robert knows that's just running the length of the field 18 times in a row, but you had to do it under, I think, 15 or 16 seconds.
Like 17 seconds.
17 seconds, and it's easy to do the first 4 times.
Yeah.
That 5th and 6th time, people are throwing up, people are stopping, and what was his name? Coach Rowe, the strength coach?
Coach Roll.
Coach Roll.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, and I'll never forget it, because he called me a name, an offensive name, but he said, "You can make this team and you got the heart. I know you got the heart." And when he said, "Where you from?" I said, "Atlanta." He said, "Oh, I know you. We got Shannon Crowell from Atlanta. I know what comes out of Atlanta." And after that, I was just like, and Shannon went to my rival high school. We didn't have gang fights. We had high school fights where I was, and he went to the rival high school. So the minute he said that name, a switch went off, and I was just like, "Oh, I'll do Shannon. I got to do
I gotta win.
And next thing I know, later that day, they posted 6 names on the wall like we were auditioning for a play. And my name was one of them. And I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm a Hurricane." And so that's how I walked onto the team.
Wow. Wait,
And it was crazy.
Wikipedia.
I had never been around so many talented people. I'm sure Robert gets this a lot, but Robert's known for, in my first year at the University of Miami, we played Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and he is world famously known in the Hurricane community for predicting that he was going to knock somebody out on the first play of the game. So I know you guys have heard that story before.
Yeah.
He's told you 90 times. And sure enough, on the kickoff, he went down there and knocked somebody out.
I've known Robert since 2003, and this is the first time I've heard that story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Watch
no.
that 30 for
I'm
30,
humble.
Bailey.
Hey, Finesse,
Yeah,
I'm humble, man. I don't tell everything. They know a lot, but they don't know everything.
Yeah. And so, that team was amazing. He had an amazing personality. And he could talk with the best of them. I mean, don't talk trash to Robert Bailey, because he can talk with the best of them. And
him and I fight quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, all that to say, I'm happy to be a Hurricane. I'm happy to be here on the podcast. And yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Well,
Happy to have you, man.
We're happy to have you. Our first question that we usually open with to our guests is to ask them when in their career they felt the most challenged by mental health. Like, when was the most stress to your mental health? Is there a particular incident or a situation in your career or just life-wise that you'd like to share with us and how you overcame that?
I've always thought life was pretty smooth sailing up until probably the University of Miami. I just had goals that I didn't know I really wanted. I thought I wanted to be in the NFL. I thought so. And then, a year and a half into school, I just wanted to graduate. I didn't even want to go out there and practice anymore. But I loved being on the team, and I loved winning, of course, and I loved being competitive. But something was shifting in me that I didn't know what to do with, and I didn't want to play football. So that was tough. But then I found stand-up comedy, oddly, at the Miami Improv in Coconut Grove. I just used to go hang out down there. And they had a joke contest one night, and my crazy self went up there. We had invited a bunch of people, but we had free tickets to get in. And then when we all got in there and they said there's a 2-drink minimum, all the girls were looking at us like, y'all better pay. So they started ordering brown liquor and food, and we like, oh Lord. And everybody was broke.
Right.
And the host said, "Whoever has the best joke, we'll take care of your tab." And then everybody looked at me like, "Finesse, you the funniest. Go up there, bro. Go up there." So that's how I started my comedy career. I went up there. I told a joke that I made up on the spot. And when I say someone speaking powerful affirmations into your life will actually change the course of whatever you thought you were going to do, the host whispered in my ear, "Yo, man, that was funny as hell. You just made that up. I know you did. Come back next week. We got open mic. Just come back next week on Tuesday night, 8:00. And I was like, "For what?" He said, "Just come back." And I came back, and he called me back on stage again after like the third person. And I went up there and I just started talking again, and people started laughing. And next thing I know, 6 years later, I was on Saturday Night Live.
That's an incredible story. And by the way, guys, I didn't know that story.
So
And this is the first I'm hearing it.
If the host at the time was Marvin Dixon.
Marvin Dixon.
Yeah.
I knew it.
We had Marvin on the show. We
I
had
knew
Marvin
it.
on our podcast.
I knew it because I was going to that that's the same comedy venue we talked about on Marvin's show that he went to and that happened to him at. So, okay, that cool story, but what was the shift that first year and a half? What was happening to you that made you feel like you just wanted to graduate at this point? Like, did you ever like dig deep into see what that was or figure out what that was for you or what you were experiencing? What shifted?
It didn't come easy. The competition was insane. And I had a coach who wasn't a coach. He was a grad assistant, but he was in charge of like the scout team. And he told me one day, he said, "Hey man, I can get you on at Wake Forest if you want to go to Wake Forest. I know some people." And I said, "What do you mean by get me on?" He was like, "You want to play, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm a Hurricane." He said, "But you want to get on the field, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, the chances of us saying that we let a walk-on start in front of a 5- and 4-star recruit at the U, that's pretty slim. But if you want to play," and I was like, so as a kid, I'm like, is he telling me to transfer? And so I didn't know what to do because I enjoyed campus life so much. I'm a pledge for Kappa Alpha Psi. We were throwing all the parties. And so a huge part of my identity was Finesse. I wasn't even Finesse until I got to Miami. Somebody started calling me Finesse, and then it just stuck. Because here's another story Robert doesn't know. I got into the locker room. The freshmen were all on one side, and the rest of the team is on the other side. And 3 of them came over. It was Michael Barrow, who talks a lot of mess, and but somebody they were going down the line grilling people. When they got to me, they said, "What's your name, buddy?" And I knew at that time in my life, if I had said Alfred, it was over.
Yeah.
So because people were calling me Finesse earlier that day, I said, Finesse. And this guy, A.C. Tellison, who was also on the team, he's from Texas. He said, "Finesse, I like that." And then everybody said, "What's up, Finesse?" And after that, it
You're
just
good
around campus that my name was Finesse Mitchell. And so anyway, just watching the season and realizing that the guys were really, really, really good. I just was confused and I didn't know what to do with my life, where to go. And I just knew that I was good at being social. And at the time, I didn't even know you could make money off of being social. There was no social media.
Right.
So it's like, I'm just good at being a people person. And so, that was just a big challenge for me. My grades had plummeted. I was below a 2.0. They were kicking me off the team because right before a bowl game, you got to have above a 2.3 or a 2.5. The late Anna Price came to see me and said, "Young man,
right.
your GPA
Yes.
is an issue."
Yes.
And they would, and I also kind of felt betrayed because I had that GPA going into my second season, and I felt like they let me be on the team the entire year. And then when it was time for the bowl game, they were like, "You're ineligible to be on the field."
Right.
I was said, "Well, why didn't somebody tell me that?" Game one. So it was just a lot of things I was going through at that age.
So then
I didn't really realize that those were baby issues. Once I got into show business, all of the real type of insecurities started to come out because you knew you were talented. I knew I was talented enough to go head to head with anybody. But being on SNL was challenging for me because it was the only show that you're actually on, but you have to audition every weekend to be live on TV.
Right.
And so when you're writing sketches and stuff, and people are laughing, you're like, "Oh, dope." And then all of a sudden, as the season goes on, you start watching people try not to laugh. And you're like, "What is that about?"
Right.
I realized, there's only 8 sketches that's going to make it live. And we turn in 45 sketches every Wednesday. They got to cut it down to 8. So I started realizing, people are sabotaging other people,
Right.
And that started bothering me because that became the business part of show business that nobody kind of prepped me on,
Right.
SNL was famous for after parties after the show in New York City. If you ever been to an SNL after party, you're like, oh, this is the best job ever. But then when Monday and Tuesday come around, you look at your cast members like, oh yeah, I remember what you did to me last week.
Ah.
Do you still get paid too? Like even if your sketch doesn't make
Oh,
it?
absolutely. But you want to be on TV. You
No,
want to,
but just thank God. Like I was worried.
yeah.
Your sketch doesn't go in, you don't get any money. I'm like, that's
Well, hey, it's just like playing college football. You dressed out, you on the sideline, but you're not even on special teams.
Right.
After a while, you get tired.
After a while, they get rid of you. So the pressure of having your sketch get picked is enormous because every time it doesn't get picked, you're looking at that exit door like, hey, they may not have me back if I don't break. Is there comedians that go the whole season and don't get picked?
No, they'll put you in something, but there are times when you just wrote a home run and it doesn't get picked. And unfortunately, you wrote it for a particular guest. You wrote it for Tom Hanks. Well, you can't use that sketch for Queen Latifah next week.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to wait till another white male come in. If you wrote a sketch for a black female and it doesn't get picked, you have to wait till the next black female to even make it make sense, and then you're resubmitting the same sketch and people are pretending to laugh even though they heard the jokes before. But the host that week didn't hear the sketch before. So they're laughing for the first time. Wow. So it's just a whole bunch of nuances about SNL behind the scenes that if you ever talk to anybody that's, from that tree, they'll tell you that show will drive you crazy. It's like
how is that mental health? How did that affect your mental health? Just going through that type of pressure cooker. That's a pressure cooker.
It's rejection, bro, week after week after week. And then all of a sudden, something you wrote in 5 minutes, they pick that. It gets all the accolades after the show, and you're in it for the next 3 weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm you know what I mean? But just to get to that moment, like if you're not the matriarch or the patriarch of the show, they're not just going to come to you if you're not a Tina Fey or a Jimmy Fallon or Mike Rudolph or Kenan Thompson.
I swear I see Kenan in so many. They must pick him just because he's a fan favorite.
Well, he's earned it now.
Right.
Kenan is the longest running cast member on that show.
Yeah.
Right.
In the history of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
But when we came in together way back in 2003, we realized it would make more sense for us to write together. And JB Smoove, who went on to Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, he was a writer. But we realized it was better for us three to collab and write something together, because then as a united front, if they didn't pick our sketch, we could all be like, oh, y'all don't like black people.
Right. Right.
Y'all said no, all three of us. It's only three of us.
Right. That's smart.
We call him Al Sharpton.
Right.
So, that job was just a pressure cooker, and everybody, just the disappointment. I just went back for the SNL 50th. I'm so glad I did. I wanted to, but I didn't want to, because it really feels like high school, Robert. It feels like, just imagine going back to your 50th high school year reunion, but you are sitting across from multi-millionaires and you're thinking to yourself, I was just as funny.
Right.
I didn't play the game right. You know what I mean? I didn't politic it the right way.
Yeah.
And so, but you also get to see other people who you haven't seen in a long time, and you absolutely know they are thinking the exact same thing. I didn't play it the right way. Oh my God. This person came in with me, and this person has their own talk show. This person came on with me, and this person is a bona fide movie star.
Right.
This person came in. So I felt great because I looked great. And, when people saw me, that's all they just kept saying. Hey, Finesse, you look amazing. Oh my God. You got any ideas? You want to do something? I'm just like, I'm so glad I came, because I wasn't, but I'm glad I did.
But that pressure cooker, how was it when you went back to your condo or apartment in New York or wherever you were staying? How was it that you handle that mental stress every night at home? Like, what was it that you did? Everybody has their thing that they do to get through some tough times. What was the tool that you used every night to get through?
The truth?
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Hey, some people that's what it is.
I never did any type of drug until I was 33 years old in New York City on the cast of Saturday Night Live.
Right.
I used to wonder how they stayed up all night writing. I mean, all night, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. And then they're back at the table read at 12 p.m. to read 45 sketches.
Wow.
And some people were sitting there in the same clothes as the night before. Some people went home and came back. But I'm like, it's a lot of people not sleeping. How are they doing this? And then that's when I found out that, excuse me, Misty, but there are Black people drugs and there are white people drugs.
Right.
Misty's one of us. She's on the brown side.
Okay, well, yeah. So somebody said to me, and I forgot what cast member it was. They said, if it's green, don't be so mean. If it's white, take flight.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay. But my other cast member brother, but it's a known fact that he indulges, and so that's when I started smoking, just hanging around him all the time, and that's when I realized, oh, this does make you feel better. And I feel funnier than ever. So it just became this thing that it was just religious, bro, like all the time.
Right. Is that something you continue to do to help you? I mean, even in your life now, you got a wife now, you got a family. Is that,
you know what?
What tools do you use now since you're a lot older, you're more mature? Is there anything else that you use?
No, just that.
Right.
I am going on 6 years sober as far as alcohol.
California sober.
Yeah.
We call that California sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
California
like
sober.
I haven't, and I have a house full of liquor. It's in my rider. Sometimes I just bring it home because I give it out as gifts.
It's still in your rider?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you want to know why? Because it not being in my green room, it makes me say, where is it?
Right.
When I see it, I say, there it is. There's my friend.
Right.
And I don't open
it. So you went through a period where you were using alcohol to try to calm yourself, and then it became a problem, and then you decided to go sober. How did that transition?
To just get through the day of doing nothing, because when you're not working, you're doing nothing. And when you're waiting to go tell jokes as a professional stand-up comedian, you're not working until 8 o'clock that night.
Right.
And everybody around you, and you're the life of the party. You're the party that people came to see.
Right.
And they hammered before they get there. They want to get more liquored up while they watching you. And then they want to know where the after party is.
Right.
When I found out I had high cholesterol or whatever, and my doctor was like, how much alcohol are you drinking? And he said, on a weekly basis. And I said, I don't know. He said 3, 4, 5 times. I said, yeah, on a Wednesday. And I was like, what do you mean on a Wednesday? I said, bro, I'm on stage Tuesday, Wednesday. Like when I'm in LA, I go to Sunset Boulevard and I jump on stage.
Right. Every time.
Because I'm steady in the gym. Like I'm true to this, bro. I shoot layups every week. So I'm always at the Laugh Factory, the Improv, or the Comedy Store. And when I'm on the road, like I said, it is what it is. So on a Friday, I would go through 2 of those bottles.
Wow.
And it's people in your green room. So it's almost like, hey, it's just part of it. And then one day I was like, and then when I had my daughter, my first daughter, I was like, yeah, this got to stop. Because those babies, they wake up at 5:30, 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would be getting in at 2:30 in the morning. So not only would it take me a little bit to go to sleep, but when I woke up, I was still drunk. I still smell like alcohol.
Right.
And so when the baby's like, let's go, I'm like, ah. So one day I said, let me just stop for a week and see what happens. And that week has been 6 years.
That's great. That's great.
Don't even miss it.
That's great. And
what am I on now, Robert? 10 days?
I don't know what you're on, but
And what's so crazy?
Told me I had to quit drinking 10 days ago.
What's so crazy is like I've always had Ciroc in my rider. And so now it's like I got a house full of Ciroc and people act like they don't want it. I'm like, oh.
Because it's the rock? Because of the label?
Y'all don't want Ciroc, huh? Okay.
That's hilarious.
No Diddy parties over here.
One of my best jokes is I don't know what the outcome of the trial is going to be. But shouldn't Ciroc be half off right about now?
Right.
I don't think the liquor store is watching the news. The stock should have dropped.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. So I just want to take you back to Hurricanes days real quick, because I had a question, because I'm not familiar with fraternities and sororities. I grew up in Canada, and I noticed that you were Kappa Alpha Psi.
Yes.
Said that correctly. And I wanted to know about the mental health of the pledges, like when you guys are pledging, like if there's anything you could share about what you guys go through on a whole, like how did you get through that process?
What I will say is this. I'm glad that the whole intake process has changed. Being older, looking back, I wouldn't wish that on anybody's kid. You know what I mean? Back in the day, we saw a movie, School Days, by Spike Lee, and you saw what pledge was from a Hollywood standpoint, but you realize that Hollywood got those stories from real life events.
Right.
So when people have been in fraternity since 1908, 1911, 1906, and all these traditions that are being passed down and kept alive, and they're being placed in the hands of other 18 to 22-year-olds to intake the new 18 to 19-year-olds, you don't know if these kids or these dudes are crazy. You don't know if they mad about their pledge process last year and they can't wait to do what was done to them. So it was a heavy experience pledging at the University of Miami, because it being a private university, it wasn't being policed like a HBCU. So those guys were pretty much doing what they wanted to do. And it was probably one of the most fun experiences in my life. And I can say that because we all got through it healthy. No one got hurt. But as adults, me and my line brother still look back on those years like, we should have been in jail.
Right.
We should have died.
Right.
We should have pressed charges. But the whole process while you're in it, you like, this is the best of it. Oh my God. And you just couldn't wait to become a brother. But it was memorable. And now with so many people and people, dying and it's just too much, because you realize that I'm looking at kids today and I'm thinking that we were pretty responsible. But I look at this new generation as, they half read stuff. They are half into stuff, and they do more dancing and social media and practicing these party walks than they actually probably do learning the information and trying to instill what the fraternity or the sorority is actually about.
Right.
So, I wouldn't want my children to go through it, a real pledge process. I'd rather they just write the check and get the jacket and learn the information. Yeah.
I've always wanted to ask that question, and I saw it when I was doing the research for the show, and I was like, this is the perfect person to ask, because you're either going to answer it, it's going to be funny, or you're going to answer it and it's going to be what I thought, which scares the shit out of me. And you're answering the scary side, because I have a kid that's like looking to pledge Omega Psi Phi, and I'm like, I'm against it.
It is scary. My brother went to school in Georgia, and he's older than I am. and my mother's a Delta. So I have a Greek family. My mother's a Delta. My brother wanted to be a Q. And so he pledged Q, and all his line brothers dropped. So he did not drop, and they spent the rest of the pledge process trying to drop him because they was trying to tell him that there's no way he could exhibit or show brotherhood if he had no line brothers. He wouldn't learn the true nature of the process of being unselfish and altruistic if you don't have anybody to share that experience with. But he didn't, and he ended up crossing and becoming a Q.
Wow.
But was my brother ever the same person that I knew before he went to that process? Nope.
Wow, it changed your brother's personality?
Different dude.
It's
You know?
it's the stories I that I do know, like the fraternities are so hush hush about like that's why he's answering it the way he's answering it. Like, he's still talking about it, but he's not saying what the actions were that were done to them specifically, because they're sworn to secrecy at some level. And so I've heard about these things a lot of time because, you know, my ex was a Q and my son now wants to pledge it, and I'm just like freaking out. And I'm like, oh gosh, I have to ask this question, because now I'm talking to adults who are like saying the same thing you're saying, is I wish I was a little stronger back then to realize I didn't need this to define me later on in life. I didn't have to be part of this, and I didn't have to sit through what really is a traumatizing experience, even though at the time it seemed like just what I had to make it through.
In a good and bad way.
Yeah.
The bad is the bad.
Yeah.
And if something goes horribly wrong, then the bad is the worst. It is the worst type of trouble you could ever be in.
Yeah.
Because they don't just go after the person who actually did something physically to somebody and something went wrong. They go after everybody that was in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're all liable. And then it goes up to the fraternity and up to the university. And everybody is trying to distance themselves as far as they can away from that one person who caused the offense. And even your own line brothers and your own fraternity brothers will all of a sudden say, you on your own. We told you not to touch them. You know what I mean? So it happens with women. It happens with men. It happens with the white fraternities and white sororities. I mean, Robert was there. They do crazy stuff, you know? And so, you know, looking back on it, I'm like, wow, glad I made it through. And we have to stop as adults saying, did you pledge? Did you pledge? Because that makes the younger people say, I don't want to be paper. I don't want to sign my name. I want to pledge, because when they ask you, did you pledge? You want to honestly say yes. You want that respect, because we really will not respect you if we know you just signed your name. And so we have to do a lot of reconfiguration from the adults' point of view who are in the fraternities and sororities, trying to find out if somebody's paper or not.
Gotcha. I didn't even know that was the thing, that you could be paper, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the process now is that you learn your information, you go through something.
Yeah.
You don't get paddled, you know?
Right.
And the paddling is intense, because, you know, my line brother, love him. Oh my God, he passed away. Damon Bethel. This guy was 6'5", 256, and he could run a 4.6.
Yeah.
But Damon wasn't always mentally there.
Right.
That's what we loved about him, because at that age, we didn't even know how to interpret properly why he was or was not always mentally there, you know? And so, but we did know to put a paddle in that man's hand and to tell him to go pledge some people. It's not a good idea. He's too big to be swinging on people.
Right.
You know? So looking back on it, and the people that we know he pledged, I look at those gentlemen today and I'm like, yo, bro, hey, because I saw what they went through and I saw how they survived one of my line brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went through the same thing. I don't want to name any names, but we had people who played football for Miami who were huge guys. And then we had people who came from all over South Florida. And then we had people who came from all over the Eastern Province, because we were in Miami. So being in Miami is where every school came for spring break.
Right.
And they come down there for spring break, and you a Kappa, you looking for the Kappas. And so if you're looking for the University of Miami Kappas, and then we got to say, yeah, we have a line. Oh, I want to see them. So now you're getting hazed by people that's from Rutgers and from Brown University and Villanova and Hampton and Howard and LSU and all that, because everybody came down there to party.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was a tough location. Should have pledged in Tuscaloosa. Nobody going to University of Alabama.
That's funny. So just, the thought process of, just to get back to topic, the thought process of you going to college, trying to play football, pledging,
Mm-hmm.
and then deciding after all of that, I'm going to go into comedy.
Mm-hmm.
How is that when you had to tell your parents, this is what I'm thinking about doing? Because you don't need to go to college to go into college. I'm sure there's tons of comedians that didn't even go to college, right?
Painful.
So
It was embarrassing.
how did you remember that process? Tell us a little bit about that process of talking to your parents.
My mother was my first teacher. She was my kindergarten teacher. She'd been in education for like 40 years. And my brother was smart, and I was smart, but I never really applied myself. I was the dude that studied before the test and got a B. You know, I didn't study the week before.
Right.
So to go through all of that, and like I said, my first year, I made a 1.5 GPA. And we had this thing called a freshman forgiveness rule.
Right. I'm like, how do you even get past the first year? But you just said it, freshman forgiveness. I didn't even know
you could go and retake the classes.
Right.
And they would just wipe that out and replace the grades. And my mom looked at me like, you down there wasting everybody money.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll do better. And then the second year I went up there and pretty much made the same damn grades. I think I made a 1 point something, and then that's when they were like, Finesse. So
Hilarious.
I started to concentrate and probably because I was put off the team, and I could have gotten back on, but like I said, at that moment in my mind and with my ego, I felt betrayed.
Right.
And so I started focusing on graduating and just being Mr. Kappa dude. And I think I probably finished UM with like a 2.9. So going from like a 1.7 to a 2.9, it was like, I brought it all back up. But I knew back then that if I don't find what my passion was, this whole thing would be a waste. And so I didn't know I wanted to do comedy at that time. I just knew I wanted to graduate. So once I graduated, my family was like, oh, he finished, he graduated. What are you going to do with your life? And we had a general contracting company back in Atlanta. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll learn the,
family business.
Yeah, the family business. But it was so boring. So I'm so glad that I actually got on stage because, so fun fact, Luke was a mainstay at the University of Miami around the football program during that time.
Right.
And like I said, I am Mr. Social.
Right.
I am Mr. Partier. The DJs I discovered went on to, they on Sirius XM right now on Rock the Bells. Like the people who DJ'd our parties who was South Florida, we found them when they were 17, 18 years old.
Right.
Meeting Luke, and Robert can tell you about the stories about getting paid to hit somebody at that. But meeting that whole entourage, I wanted to get in the music business, so I thought. Yeah. So I started interning at Luke Records. So my senior year of college, I would leave school and go to Liberty City, and
I remember that too.
And then I was working at Luke Records, and I had a music group, and I started managing the music group. Yeah. I wanted to be in the group. I found out I couldn't sing, so they told me I could be the manager. So
I remember all that.
I got into the music business in Miami, and then which shifted also into party promotion on South Beach. So the Mike Gardners and Louis Olivers and all these people in the 400 Club and all these promoters.
The 400 Club for 6 years.
How about that? So the Simply Jesses and the Troys and the, we started that stuff. That was like my era.
Yeah, Bailey was the bottle girl.
No, I was not. I was Jay Little's assistant, and I ran the.
Jay Little.
Yeah. Do you remember Jayana Santiago?
Yeah, I remember everybody.
She's my chef now. She's my full-time chef Monday through Friday.
How
So she's
about
still- so
that?
I'm still like Simply Jess and I, we just did an art show like last month. She's working on her art skills, but that's hysterical. That's the world is so small. Because when you said 400 club, I'm like 400 for life in my head.
Yes. But at that age, I think I was like probably the old guy, you know. But watching them throw parties and watching them build up nights from the open air clubs at all the different clubs. Like I was there when there was Glam Slam, when Prince owned the club.
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Fifth Street was across the street from Luke's on the beach. Luke's on the bay or whatever he called it. Well, Luke's.
Right.
So yeah, just it just sharpened my skills to just be more social. So then when I got on at the comedy club and I started doing comedy, I took all those social skills to put myself in situations and around people who could like get me more exposure. And then I had my first Comic View was my first TV appearance. And Ricky Smiley, who was a mentor for me to this day, who's all over the radio now, who just did a drop for me for my special that's coming out tonight on YouTube called Slightly Offensive. Everybody go check it out.
July 1st. Today is July 1st.
Day, baby. And so all of these people, my mental health out here, leaving SNL, going back to Miami, because I'll never forget when I was being let go from Miami, they let go of 7 people. And so, 3 people were moving on and 4 people they let go. And I knew, and they had to make budget cuts. The cast was too huge. So I knew I would be one of the 4 people. I just knew. And so, and me and Keenan was looking at each other like, man, they're going to fire us. I said, they're not going to fire you. They cannot fire both black dudes.
They can't fire Keenan.
They can't fire Keenan. So, but going down and living back in Miami after I left New York was a mental type of pressure for me because I didn't know what to do. And instead of coming right back to LA and jumping back to the industry, I'm like, oh, I'll go to Miami and just get my bearings for a little while. And that ended up being 6 years.
Right.
So I was pretty much out of Hollywood for 6 years. And that really slowed down my career. And I kept beating myself up because I said, I did this to myself. I just kept procrastinating. I was watching the Kevin Harts and all the people just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was just as funny and I was on SNL. How am I not? And I realized I took myself out of the game because there was just some stuff that they said, hey, well, can you be here tomorrow? And I was like, let me check the flights. And that.
Right.
And that was just, and after a while, the only thing that kind of saved me was, this is a funny story, but I went out to LA. I started going back and forth to LA and I got a chance to be on this Disney Channel show. I auditioned for this show called Ant Farm and I didn't want the show because I pictured myself as Will Smith. I pictured myself meeting Michael Bay and I'm going to be Transformers. So I don't have time for this Disney stuff. Like this ain't no Disney face. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm prime time, baby. And
that's hilarious.
But I ended up getting the job and I didn't want the job. And so my agent was like, bro, it's 26 episodes in one season and you get paid this per episode. And I'm like, I think I want that job. You know what I mean? Now I want the job. But it allowed me to move back to LA from Miami and, to find my wife who I was already searching for because I knew who she was. I just needed to get her interested in me.
Right.
And yeah. And here's the crazy thing, Robert. I'm on show 4 on a hit show, and I'm already depressed.
Right.
I'm already showing up to work every day like, why am I here with these kids? I'm supposed to be over here.
Right.
Like, I'm supposed to be doing this. Meanwhile, you go to the comedy clubs and stuff and you see other comedians saying, I wish I had that job.
Right.
So it was just, I'm like, man, I need to count my blessings. But then I go to work and 2 weeks later, I'd be like, oh, get me off this show. I'm missing out. I can't get out of this contract. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Right.
So that started to play on me. And thank God that I ran into Bob Saget and we had a talk, and he told me, Finesse, this is going to be the best job. If you allow it to be, this is going to be the best gig you ever have in show business, because the kids grow quick. So your show is going to get canceled whether you realize this or not. It has nothing to do with you. But
Right.
they're going to get to a certain age where Disney's going to be like, okay, they should be in high school. So you got to enjoy it now. Just save your money. But here's what I learned, and here's what I had to deal with, because I went through the same thing you're going through. He said, these kids know me as Danny Tanner, but they don't know I'm one of the dirtiest comedians in the game.
And I tell you, that blew my mind when I found that out about him. Like, it just shattered my 10-year-old heart. I was like, what do you mean this is who he really is?
Right. So if you go see Bob Saget live back then, you would be like, wow. You know what I mean? Because it's just who he was, you know? But he also said, and because we're comedians and that's what we do in our core, these kids that turn 17, 18, 19, then 20, 21, they're coming to see you in the club because they're going to be like, I grew up on that guy. That's so-and-so, so-and-so.
Yeah.
And they're ticket buyers. And all of a sudden you're going to have a whole new fan base, and then the seats are going to be filled because all of these people watch Ant Farm on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. Like, if you under 26 years old and I see people going, I say Ant Farm, they go,
Yeah.
and it's better than SNL. It's better than anything else I've ever done, because it is the age group that are still going out and they're still in the streets right now, versus everybody that's my age. You got to give them a 3-month notice to come see you so that they can get their bearings together to leave the house to come to a comedy club and be up past a certain time.
Right.
You know? But Bob was struggling as well too.
Right.
Unfortunately, he passed away mysteriously
Yeah.
in a Florida hotel.
That's
And-
crazy.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Bob.
yeah, man. But like the Robin Williams and the Bob Sagets and so
Yeah.
stand-up comedians and so many people whose job it is to make other people laugh and happy and just be the life of the party. I mean, bro, that drive home is lonely and depressing.
Right.
And if you don't have a family or a support group or something to cling to let you know that show business is not the everything,
Right.
the finding the inner peace and the happiness, that's the everything. And that's what you work toward every day. That's when you're rich. That's when you're wealthy. Looking at my daughters, I say I'm wealthy. Looking at my fine ass wife, I say, I don't know how I did that. I'm wealthy.
Right.
You know, I can't afford a pool, but I got one of them little dripple ponds in the back that I hear the water. I say, man, I'm wealthy. Come in my backyard and look at my little pond.
Right.
That's the stuff to me that brings tranquility, and that's the stuff that brings the peace, where I don't feel like, you know, I have to start pop locking just to get people attention. No diss, but I'm
Right.
just saying, sometimes we do what we do in the beginning just so we can get the eyeballs until we can say, I ain't got to do that no more.
Right.
How did you make that transition, though, from making the realization of my satisfaction doesn't come from entertaining others and from other people approving of me, to my satisfaction, it actually comes from developing that inner peace? How did you figure that out?
God, faith, getting outside of yourself and holding yourself accountable to your faith, you know, and realizing that the salvation that you seek, you can have here on earth, even though you know you're just trying to live a righteous life and do right by others and leave your mark. And at some point, you just got to say, it's not about me. It never really was about me. At some age, it's all about me. But then once you start bringing other people into the world, it's about them. And even they're going to let you down because they're not going to be what you envisioned a lot of times.
Right.
But you got to think, were you what your parents envisioned? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to give yourself a mental break to say, hey, my kids are my kids. My family is my family. and just thank God that I'm here for it. Because wow, I look at success now as I'm in my marriage 10 years longer than my father was in his marriage. If that makes any sense.
100 cents, man.
That's well understood.
Lot of sense.
My children come into my room and I'm there in that bed with my wife versus driving them somewhere and dropping them off and then picking them up at a certain time. And then she moving the time. And when she know it's my weekend, and that I hear those stories so much.
Yeah.
She took them out of town when she knew, man.
Right.
We all know them. All the three of us on the call, we all know them. We're all cracking up in the background.
Yeah.
So, to me, I'm like, you know what, day by day, and there ain't nothing like taking out the trash. I make jokes about it, but there ain't nothing like being in an arena. Like this guy used to open up for me. He's one of the biggest names in comedy now. His name is Matt Rife.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
Matt
that,
Rife.
right?
So great.
Yeah.
So funny.
Now he's calling me like, Finesse, you want to open up for me at Madison Square Garden? Yes. Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Not only yes, sir, Mr. Rife.
Whatever.
One day I was watching a podcast and I remember Fat Joe saying that DJ Khaled just used to be like, can I be a member? Can I be a member? Can I hang with? He just always wanted to hang with Terror Squad. And then finally they gave him a chain and he got the TS on his neck and he's a member. And then Fat Joe says, now when I'm with Khaled, I open his door for him.
Right.
The respect has shifted because he's surpassed me and done more. And so I look at a lot of people who I've influenced in stand-up comedy, and I'm happy to still be doing it, and I'm happy to be respected. And I'm happy that when you go on my Instagram, you're going to see a whole bunch of posts of everybody sending me congratulation videos or go watch Finesse's special, which really, really touched my heart because there are days when I say nobody likes me. Like they are just all pretending to like me. And that's my own me in my head. And Tisha Campbell, who I tour with, and I'm teaching her stand-up comedy, and she's doing great. But she's been in the business since she was 3. And she's like, Finesse, sometimes you just got to get out of your head. Sometimes people just busy. Sometimes they just in their own world. Sometimes they got their kids, they schedule, sometimes they depressed. And so you're expecting them to send you a video and they're not sending it in a timely manner. And all of a sudden you think it's because they don't like you. No, they're struggling too. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. And because the whole thing with Matt, I'm like, damn, I don't think Matt messing with me. But then all of a sudden I get a phone call. Hey, Madison Square Garden, I'm saving the best for last, baby. I'm like, oh, snap. Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
And so at some point, you just got to realize, hey, it is what it is, even when it ain't.
You have a lot of love on your feet. I was checking this out. I mean, you've got like Cedric, you've got Tiffany Haddish, I was like, damn, like, look at all these people showing up for you.
I got 20 more people in my phone mad that I ain't post a video yet.
You see, you're doing to them what they're saying. Yeah, why isn't he posting a video?
Yeah.
Like, they don't think I'm big enough to put him on the grill. Like,
This your boy.
Say big shout out to my brother, Hurricane Legend.
There you go. There you go.
Hurricane Legends.
Okay, Ro.
That's Big Ro. And I got an alumni from he just sent me this one.
What up? Hey, D, checking in. Hey,
We can't see it.
I should I check out the special coming out today.
I can see it.
Half parts. My dog Finesse.
Yeah.
Fans, baby. I can't wait. Hey, tune in and y'all better check it out. Don't miss it.
That's Aaron Donald.
Yes, sir.
So
Big time.
awesome.
Yeah, we go to the same church.
That's awesome, man.
Leave LA, Pastor Aaron Lindsay. Yeah, man. So that's where my life is now. And I'm happy that that's where my life is now. that I can call up Big Boy from Outkast because we did the movie Who's Your Caddy.
Right.
And now that y'all mentioned Terry Crews, I'm about to hit him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got to be your own promo now because,
Yeah.
you know, people will promote stuff, but it got to be timely. You know, it got to
Right.
be timely for them, because especially if you want other celebrities to do it. Because like this week, my comedy special, like I said, it drops tonight, but I'm only posting that stuff all week.
Right.
So somebody's like, yo, I need you to post, you know, the podcast we did 2 days ago. I'm like, I ain't posting that. It don't go with what I'm posting this week. It's
Right.
out of there. You got to give me at least a week, you know, because right now it's about slightly offensive.
Right.
And then I hear myself talking like that, and then it reminds me, oh yeah, so let me chill out because I'm not, you know what I mean? I want people to post my stuff yesterday. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, the business is weird and crazy, but when it just comes to mental health, if people just take a beat and just find that one thing that's their thing, and they don't let people interrupt that thing, you'll be all right. And as long as that thing ain't a chemical dependent drug or alcohol or an excess of something that's detrimental to your health or your mental state, you'll be all right. Let me tell you something. If you ever do paint by numbers, you'll be addicted. If you ever start just doing anything that's art related,
Yeah.
I like to grow roses. I didn't know I didn't know I like to grow roses, but I got a bunch of roses back here. But every time
Just
I get
specifically roses or
it's
any
roses,
plant?
bro. I don't know if it was there was a movie Meet Joe Black when Brad Pitt was dead but not dead.
Right.
But the backyard, they was getting ready for the man party. And the girl said the flowers had to be a particular way because daddy, this and that. But this was her gift to him
Right.
because she felt overlooked by Anthony Hopkins as the
Right.
not favorite daughter. And she wanted this party to go off without a hitch because that was her thing, you know? And everybody knew, hey, let her do it. That's her thing.
Right.
And so like when I'm in this backyard, I got my daughters in here looking for weeds and like stuff that's not supposed to be back here because now that's becoming their thing. And I know I'm passing that down to them because my wife can't stand to be outside in the sun. She don't like nothing green.
Right. That's hilarious.
You ever want to waste your money on some flowers, bring them to Idris DeBarge. She don't like them.
Right.
That's funny.
Well-
I take away from your journey, though, the fact that it is a journey and that you realized at some point that it changed and you adopted the ship. Like you allowed, I want to say, God to be the driver, and then you just sat there and buckled in as the passenger and just like allowed it to play out. Because like everything that you've shared, like the way you went through it, the 6 years away from Hollywood, your mental state, like the shift from I want to be a Hurricane and play football, but then I'm just happy to be a Kappa and graduate. You know, it's really enlightening to see that way that you just flexed and bobbed with the story and then understood, oh, this is the business. Okay, then let me go back into it. You know, like if I hear the name Disney, like I'm like stars are like popping out. Like if Disney wants to ever call me and do anything, I'm like, yes, it's Disney. And I like to hear you even say like Ant Farm. I'm like, but it's Disney. Like,
Right.
you know, so it's just really spectacular how it still all seems to be progressing for you in such a good way that is healthy for you. Like your mental health just seems like how you've handled everything is just like as it's part of the journey.
Bob said, watch it. Bob said, watch how your life will change as your kids get older and they find out you are on a popular show. And I wasn't, my kids were so young at the time that I'm like, But then when I'm doing daddy drop off and pick up and I see some of the kids looking at me like, and then one day my oldest daughter says, Dad, are you on TV? Because she did not know. I said, well, you know, I do comedy. She said, no, are you on TV?
Right.
Well, yeah, I've done some stuff. And I thought to myself, babe, you know what? They old enough to watch Ant Farm. My daughters, there's this movie on Disney that came out called The Descendants or something like that, with all the girls are dancing and singing.
Yeah.
Very
And
good.
China McClain is one of the people. And she was the little girl who I played her father on Ant Farm. And so I'm like, you guys like China? Oh, she's the best. Daddy knows her. You don't know her. Man, I dropped in that Disney Plus and clicked episode 1 of Ant Farm. They watched all 4 seasons in 3 days.
Wow.
Wow.
They are probably on their 5th run of watching
watching.
all 4 seasons.
How does that make you feel as a father?
It makes me feel like no job ever mattered but that job.
Right.
Because now I am a TV star.
Right.
And it wasn't SNL. It wasn't the Today Show. It wasn't Showtime. It wasn't this movie or that movie. And it wasn't me complaining about the stuff I didn't get. It was the show I didn't want. It was a show that I thought I hated.
For comedians, is it you want to try to go from comedy to TV to movies? Is that kind of like in the NFL, you try to make the team, then you try to become the starter, then you try to go to the Pro Bowl, then try to be a Hall of Famer. For comedians, because when you brought up the girl that you're helping with comedy, go from she was a TV star, Martin. What was her name?
Tisha.
Tisha. You're helping Tisha go into comedy.
Mm-hmm.
For you, you're like, you want to come down? You know what I mean? Like, do you look at the Hollywood system as I'm not a star until I'm in the movies? Finesse.
Yeah.
Thought you fell out.
No.
No, I'm good. Tisha, it's not necessarily going down. It is realizing that you control your own destiny when you do stand up.
There you go.
You don't have to wait for an audition or for a producer to call you.
Right.
You just need to tell somebody you want to go to Dallas, Texas, and people will pay you to show up.
Yeah.
But
Because when you said I'm now a TV star, in my mind, I'm like, dude, you're already a TV star. You were on SNL. But you looked at that show in your daughter's mind as like, oh, this made me a TV star. But in my mind, you're already a TV star.
Right. But the way kids react to your work and the way your peers react to your work is totally different.
I got you.
No, and I can see how touched you were by the fact that you realized it was the show that you didn't want. And that was the show that was
Bob Saget was right.
It was a show that it's the show that means the most in my house right now. And my happiness is everybody happy right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I can't keep telling them about my glory days. They sick of hearing my story.
Right.
You know, Dave Chappelle has this joke where he's talking about being in somebody else's dream. Like I'm a part of somebody else's dream.
Right.
You know? And it was something funny about Lil Nas X. But I realized that when my kids wake up every day, they are still in that phase where it's all about them 100% of the time. So when the kids are thoughtful, you're like, wow, I'm doing a good job as a parent.
Right.
And when they're not thoughtful and selfish, you're like, well, they're just a kid. You make an allowance for it. So, you know, to hear my wife be like, did you take out the trash? And to hear my daughter say, but she was on Ant Farm, Mom. You want her to take out the trash? I'm like, that's right. I'm a star.
That's
They never said that when they just knew I was on SNL because they don't watch that. They don't know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
When you look back, do you see like that was God, like Bailey was kind of saying, like that was God's plan at work, which I think happens a lot of the times. We don't necessarily understand why things happen the way that they do until we can reflect back and be like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Well, yeah, God works that way. In my opinion, sometimes God works backwards because we learn it when we're young because we're forced. But then when you get a certain age, everything you learn, you start trying to apply it to life, which means, oh, let me go back. And if I would have done that here, that. So now that I know, at least let me apply what I know going forward. Now that I feel like I know some of the answers. And that's why you got to like stay in the word sometimes and keep getting spiritually fed so that you can deal with the low lights. Right. I mean, life is full of low lights.
100%.
Quality of life is low lights.
100%.
You know, you look at your life and say, man, let me be thankful and grateful because every 1 out of 5 people, I mean, every other person, man, they going through something so heavy. And you're like, wow, I know I'm headed that way. You know, like if you're happy to, if you're lucky or fortunate enough, shouldn't say lucky, but if you're fortunate and blessed enough to still have your parents in your life, man, we are at that age where our parents are now the kids and we're the parents.
Right.
Just to like deal with, are you eating? Are you taking your medicine? Are you getting rest? Are you getting some motion? Are you moving around? Did you keep your appointments? So you didn't, and all that, the response you get is, and you're like, I'm trying to help you. you know?
They turned into our children.
Yes. And so, you know, that's where we are at this age. And you just look at life and you're like, wow, God, I get it now. I really get it.
Yeah. That's that illustration you see on the computer when they show your parents holding you in their arms, and then they show when it's switched, and later on in life you holding your old mom or dad in your arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's exactly what your explanation.
Yeah, man.
Just quick question. When's the last time you've spoken to Marvin Dixon? Like, does he know that? Does he remember that story? Like, have you guys spoke and talked about the story where he whispered in your ear, like, come back, man?
I haven't spoken to Marvin in a while, and I haven't even seen him on the road, but I see him on flyers, and I see him still doing his thing. And the truth of the matter is that comedians don't know they're not being the nicest people when you start getting funny.
Right.
It can go from, hey, you need to do this, to damn,
right.
You know, and you doing this. And as you're doing it, sometimes you don't realize that it's taking you a while to reach back out to somebody or catch up with someone.
Right.
So I can't even put that all on him. I just know that once I left South Florida, you know, I don't even play South Florida that much anymore. And I should. I don't know why I don't. But
Hard Rock Live over here. We'll come see your show.
Let's go. I'm gonna try to get to that Davie or Dania Beach improv. I like that location. Or the Doral in improv in Miami. So
I think Marvin,
I'll be back. You know, as soon as I get permission to go, I'll be at the Miami, Florida, the Notre Dame game, and then I'll be back for homecoming.
That's awesome.
But I just got to get permission.
You gotta get that slip signed.
Babe, I need you to watch the kids because I'm going to Miami.
Right.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's a show? No, it's a football game. You don't play football?
Right. That's hilarious.
Amazing. Well, this was great, Finesse. We're so happy we got a chance to spend time with you today. As a closing question, we always like to ask for you to highlight the 3 things that you would use to change your low light to a highlight.
3 things I would use to change.
If you're in a low mood or a bad mood.
Like
you already said one was marijuana. So 2 more things.
No,
2 more
you
things.
one again.
No,
Bible.
You know, when I need to think, like I said, I love to be in the yard. I love to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and just walk around outdoor in the garden section, looking at stuff that I don't need. I love to be around my girls, and I love to jog. Yeah, I love to be. I just love to like take a walk and jog. There's a couple of parks around where I am, and outside of that, something people could probably never take away from me. Oh, I love the stage.
Right.
There ain't nothing like me feeling bad about something and then getting in my car and being at the point in my career that when I walk into the comedy club, they ask me, do I want to go up?
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Oh,
And so if I say yes, I'm that next person on stage, and I just made a room full of people laugh.
Super happy.
and I come off the stage and everybody's like, ah. It's almost like that movie Purple Rain, when he didn't know that Purple Rain was dope and he trying to get his bike chain off the motorcycle, and he all of a sudden hears the speaker in the background of people going crazy in the club. And then all of a sudden he hops up, he turns around, he sees the girl, she's crying, and he's like, hi. And she's like, hi. And he walks by her and he goes down the skinny hallway, and there's people on the left and the right. And they're like, hey, man, and he looks and then he sees Apollonia, and she's like, can we get back together? Cause you the shit now, you know? And then he goes over, he gives her a kiss, and he goes on stage and he sings I Would Die For You, and baby, I'm a star.
That's awesome.
Classic movie for all us old heads.
Then I come back home and I take out the trash.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, none of us on the call today will ever ask you to take out the trash, but we do appreciate that you are serving the husband duties very well. Thank you for your time again today. If you know someone who is struggling or needs to talk to someone, please let them know that they can reach out to the Suicide Crisis Lifeline. It's 24/7. That number is 988. Obviously, if it's an emergency, please have them dial 911. And if you're looking for any additional mental health resources, you can always visit the kennedykids.org page. Go visit our resources tab, and there are additional, hi, Mom. There are additional insights out there for you.
There's my mom. My mom just made
joining our podcast.
She was on the podcast.
But that is kennedykids.org. Visit our resources tab, and there are additional resources on there for our audience to peruse and utilize. So thank you again, Finesse Mitchell, for being on the show today. We really appreciate your time.
Wait, tell us how people can find you, and tell us how they can get that special.
Yes, Misty Buck with the amazing
Listen, people, just go to 800 Pound Gorilla Media on YouTube. They release a lot of specials. I partnered with them. You can go to finessemitchell.com and click the link. It's the first thing on the page. It'll take you directly to the special. It's gonna live premiere on July the 1st. By the time you guys probably see this, it's just up, and hopefully it has a bunch of views. And just keep sharing the link and sharing the tab and sharing the link and sharing the tab with anybody who needs to laugh. It's not political. It's just me telling stuff with some curse words here and there, and that's why it's slightly offensive. And I'm getting ready to shoot my next one in August, which will be hella offensive.
The sequel. That's fantastic.
The warm-up.
Everything Finesse Mitchell. Finesse Mitchell on TikTok, Finesse Mitchell Zero, Finesse Mitchell on Instagram, Finesse Mitchell Facebook, Finesse Mitchell.
Well, Finesse Mitchell, we really do hope that when the show airs for us on Bailey Buck Unplugged, that you will collaborate with us and share the show to help others with their mental health journey as well. So thank you again for your time today.
Finesse.
Yes, sir.
I gotta go take out the trash.
Yes, sir.
Mom's here. I probably gotta go take out the trash.
Yes, sir, brother. Thank you for the
I don't care about
Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on.